Welcome back, everybody, to Retroactive. We are here talking about the new Fantastic Four film today, First Steps, the first official MCU-based Fantastic Four film. I've got a full-fledged panel with me today, so we're going to jump right into it. Let me go ahead and bring everybody in. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. Now, we're going to not waste any time because obviously we got a lot of people on the panel and we got stuff to talk about. So we're going to do a little roundtable. First thing we're going to do is talk about some of our likes about the movie. Then we'll go around and do some dislikes and then open things up to discussion at the end. Now, I'm going to kick things off with our resident Marvel expert specifically. Josh, I'm going to kick things off with you. What were your thoughts? What were your positives about the Fantastic Four First Steps?
I absolutely hated it. She-Hulk was a lot better. No, as you can tell, I liked the movie because I literally bought every piece of merchandise that was available at my damn movie theater. So, as you can tell, I like the movie. No, I thought it was a lot better than the previous Fantastic Four movies, which, as has been said, that's not a huge bar. And I really liked it. I was, like a lot of people, skeptical about Pedro Pascal as Reed. I think he did a really good job. I think all the cast did a fantastic job. I did like how the story was kind of just simple and to the point. I like that they kind of took most of the multiversal stuff out of it, so this can kind of be like its own little standalone thing. And I think Galactus was terrifying. I wish we got more of him. I wish we would have got a good another 15, 20 minutes more of him, but cause I feel like he was kind of just looming in the background a lot. But overall, is this just quick round table?
No, I mean you can talk. You got didn't say at the top, but everybody's getting 5 minutes per thing.
Oh, fine, okay.
You can talk. You can talk.
My favorite thing about it is, as you guys know, one of my all-time favorite movies ever is Interstellar, and I thought this movie was Marvel meets Interstellar, and some of the best CGI and that Marvel has come up with, especially with with their visuals of space, with the wormholes and black hole. That whole sequence when they're escaping the Silver Surfer and Sue's going into birth, and Shia LaBeouf is just pretty much surfing on black holes, and it just looked beautiful. I think that they did a standout job. And the whole scene where she gets sucked into the wormhole when they trick her and she gets stuck in there for a month. I just thought visually this movie was fantastic. No pun intended. That joke's kind of overdone. Yeah. But no, I was honestly really shocked. You could tell they put a lot of love and care in this, and they know that they had to get this right. And like I said, I hate being on the spot, man. I have so much to say about this movie, but when you put me on the spot, my brain goes completely blank. But no, I absolutely love this movie, and I'm glad that that post-credit scene, I kind of knew what it was before it came out. I wish we got a little more of an introduction to Doom versus just kind of like a side angle type thing. And I don't think that post-credit scene is what everybody else thinks it's going to be. I don't think it's him stealing Franklin. I think it's leading to something else. But I like the biggest gripe I have for the movie is I feel like it should have been longer. Like I feel like it was really short. I think it could have done with an extra 15 to 20 minutes. Maybe fleshed out that final battle a little more. And I've been seeing a lot of people nitpick like that they thought that the third act was like underwhelming, but I like how they pretty much acknowledge like there's realistically no way that they can beat Galactus. And if the Fantastic Four found a way to actually kill Galactus, the fan base would be mad that they nerfed Galactus. So it's like I feel like they kind of can't win. Either they do something like what they did or they kill him. And a lot of people aren't really happy with it. But I think what they did was, it fit the movie. But realistically all they really could do. There's really no killing an ancient space god that's older than the universe itself. But yeah, I think it did really good. All the chemistry between all the characters, Ben, Sue, all of them. I think that it was just a really good movie. I definitely up there. I think I would put it up there with my top 5 favorite Marvel movies. I've seen it twice, and I'm probably gonna go see it one more time before it hits digital. But yeah, this was a fun time for sure.
That's pretty crazy. That's high bars to put it in your top 5 right off.
I think. I guess when it comes to ratings, are we doing ratings at the end?
Yeah, we'll do the ratings at the end. But I appreciate your enthusiasm.
Yeah.
And now, because I'm bad at this, I always forget to say, very much spoilers for this. I did put the banner at the bottom as a warning, but I mean, by the time this comes out, this movie will have been out for a week, so it's anything that could have been spoiled, it's probably been spoiled for you anyway. I will actually say though, I can't really fathom anything off the top of my head that is too much of a, you know, massive spoiler for this film.
I feel like the trailers and the TV spots kind of gave you a clear direction about what happened in this movie. Like,
definitely the one
if
was
things had played out differently, then that would have been simple. Like if things had played out the way that we had talked about months ago of our theory on how this film was going to play out and how they were going to be incorporated into the MCU at large, then yeah, sure, that would have been something. But the way that this movie plays out, it's pretty self-explanatory, pretty much laid out, like you said, from the trailers themselves.
I forgot to mention that final bit with the car seat had me dying because when Nathan had his booster seat, it was literally me trying to get that damn thing in the car, and Shayna always getting frustrated with me because I can't ever get the thing on properly. So it's like I related to that, and I thought that part was hilarious.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. That was like 3 minutes a baby, basically.
Like, and every time I look back, it was just Franklin and Sue. Look at how you're doing. Oh, also, the CGI in Franklin was, for whatever reason, Hollywood can't get a CGI baby right. I mean, it looked better than the Flash and Twilight.
Yeah, they did say it's not CGI, but I agree with you. I thought it was.
There's definitely
it's
some, they use an actual baby, but they had to use CGI to give it certain, because the baby can't act. So like you can't tell the baby to cry on cue, like when Sue died and everything. So like they had CGI moments where you could tell. But for whatever reason, I mean, it's not the worst. It's probably the best CGI baby I've seen, but it still looks weird. But that for what Hollywood just can't get a CGI baby right. But at least they weren't putting in the microwaves like they were in Flash. So
I'm gonna piggyback off of that real quick because that for me is one of the things that, like, I guess I'm gonna start with a negative. One of the things that took me out the most was dealing with a lot of the baby stuff because of the visual aspect to it. Because I know there's this whole thing with Hollywood as of late, the like, we didn't use CGI for this. This is real. This is real. And it's like, okay, I have no doubt that you filmed a child. Like the clips that you're using, are most of them anyway, are probably real clips you took of a baby. But I was having this conversation with Ashlyn, and I think I mentioned it to Steven, that like if there's strict labor laws on child actors, I cannot imagine the strictness of using like an infant for filming and things like that. So there's only so much time that you would even have with a child that small or something like that on camera. So the smart way to do it is you film the child off screen, or possibly, you know, a couple of things with like a person or two in place of the main actors, and you can clearly tell that the child is layered on top of a lot of different things, not just the thing when he's holding the baby, whether on the couch or otherwise, but like you mentioned, he's laying on his mother's chest. You can clearly tell the baby's not actually there in that moment and stuff like that. So there were just certain things with that made it really difficult for me. I also keep making the joke that because I'm a childless millennial, I'm dead inside. So all the baby and child stuff just like wasn't hitting for me. And that's why, like, I didn't hate this movie, but I didn't love this movie. I loved the aesthetic. I thought it was really, really cool, really fun, different take on this, and such an interesting way to incorporate like the original old school, like Fantastic Four-way, kind of like what they did back in the day with like the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans, but those were set in the modern era of the time. They just felt like, you know, the comics in certain aspects. This was like almost through and through, like felt like right off the page type of Fantastic Four, like, you know, meets the Jetsons or something like that. But yeah, so like this movie's definitely, it has its fun moments, it has its heart clearly. I did like that they were giving Johnny more to do, and to like give him that like more scientific background that makes sense of like why he's there, as opposed to, I think in the originals he was just there because he was the pilot or something like that. I don't think he actually really had much of a scientific background. So for them to, you know, do the dialogue of being like, the reason why all these people are with me is because I needed the most intelligent, you know, minds, and they just happen to be my family, and, you know, blah blah blah. And so they also gave that like subplot of Johnny figuring out the dialect and all this kind of stuff, which was kind of interesting. I liked what they did with this Shalabal Silver Surfer. I thought she looked pretty good. I know some people had gripes of like certain things of the way that she looked, but I feel like it is tough when you're working with a completely reflective character type of thing, as far as for it to not look like rough at certain times. But I think overall it looked pretty solid. I kind of thought it was funny but cool that how she was like actually surfing a lot of the time. It wasn't just like her gliding through air. She was actually like riding the wave of like the lava, or the when they're in the black hole and all that kind of stuff. So that was kind of cool to see it like actually being done in that regard. And then yeah, as far as the casting goes, it was pretty much solid across the board. I think everybody did a good job. I feel like I need more time with Pedro Pascal's Mr. Fantastic, to really like give like a definitive like, oh yeah, I love him as that character. It's not that he didn't have a lot of screen time. It's not nothing like that. It's just, I guess, because of the story that they set up and the issues that we're dealing with. I just want to see him outside of something like that specifically. Something that's a little, I don't want to say less personal, because like everything's going to be personal going forward as far as like them dealing with the multiversal like war or whatever with Secret Wars and things like that. So everything affects him and his family, but just something that's a little less close to home. I'd like to see him dealing with, Doom or some other bad guys and stuff like that, and see how his brain works, because they clearly focused on the his other superpower is his brain, not just with the elasticity stuff, which in my opinion we got very little of overall with the film, which take that or leave it as far as like why they did it. They clearly set up Sue Storm as the like ipso facto leader of the group, and I'm totally cool with that. Like, she did a really good job. Like I said, I think for me was just, it was tough connecting, because like I don't have kids, and I don't have a family in that aspect and everything like that, so it was hard for me to
We're your family, buddy. It's okay.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought we were.
We're your family. It's okay,
Okay,
buddy.
that's fine. Fuck you then, I guess. We'll just fuck off, I guess.
I
Not
said
to-
it
not
I
to
said
get-
in the traditional sense. is what I
Jesus.
said.
Not to cut you off, but are we going to talk theories at some point? Because I wanted to tell you on my Doctor Doom theory.
Yes, we're gonna save that for the end.
Okay.
So I concede my time. I think I probably hit 5 minutes, if not more. Let's jump it over to Kat. Hear from you next.
You got 3 minutes.
All right. I got 3 minutes. Oh,
You
man,
got
the pressure's
5
on. I don't think I'll need 5 minutes, but I did love Herbie. He was my favorite. And the little Easter eggs they threw throughout the movie, like Latveria not being at the speech, and that
That's
being like
true.
Doom. Huh?
I said that's true.
Oh, okay. And that being like Doom's home, what is it, his hometown or his home
That's
country?
right. He's the king of Latveria.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. And then what was the other little Easter egg that I seen? At the very end where nope, lost my train of thought. Anyway, I don't know. I really liked it. I don't know.
I guess
I
that's all we
concede.
got for Kat.
That's all I have. My brain went blue. It's like when I'm trying to think of stuff, it doesn't want to come to me.
It's okay. If you come back to it, let me know. We'll jump
I'll
back.
come back to
Did
you.
you guys notice that little subtle thing? They took a jab at themselves. Like, they made a joke Marvel did in the movie. Did you guys catch that? It was that scene with Reed Richards when he's writing on the chalkboard talking to the kids, and he's talking
Oh
about
yeah.
and then they all fall asleep, and then he's like, "You want to see something blow up?" And they all jump up. I feel like that's how they feel about the multiverse.
Yeah.
People are talking about the multiverse. People just kind of like, I don't
That
fucking
was
care.
100%.
But then it's like, want to see something blow up? Yep. And then all the Marvel fans freak out. I was like, that was towards themselves.
This proves that there's multiple universes. Like, just
It blow up? Fuck yeah.
all right. Well, since Kat was a little scatterbrained, we're gonna jump it over.
Circle back.
Circle back. We're gonna jump over to Brandon now. Brandon, your thoughts on Fantastic Four?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to get one. No, it's about time that they decided to fucking put their nose to the grindstone on this and make a movie that's comic accurate. There's a few little things that I didn't care for, but overall that was one of the better Marvel movies that we've had in recent years, so I'm not going to complain much at all on that front. I think that the choice for them to do Silver Surfer as her panned out pretty well. And I was a little concerned about that just because for fans of the Silver Surfer, they're used to Norrin Rad. That's what I grew up knowing is Norrin Rad. And so when we got Norrin Rad on the screen before, yeah, it was a Fox universe and it wasn't so great, but good for that time period. Not really standing the test of time though, unfortunately. But with regard to this one, they dug into the lore. They dug into the home world, which I was really shocked. I wasn't really shocked. I was hoping that they would hit that, and they did. And I was like, "There we go, we did it." I just wanted to see it. All they had to do was just show a scene, show a little bit of interest into that Silver Surfer character, and they did. And that's perfect. What they did was perfect. They didn't need to go too hard, and yeah, I thought that the way that they introduced her and showed the planet and her backstory a little bit was exactly the right amount. You know, if they'd done any more, it would have been like the fans would have been like, why are we focusing on her? And if they didn't touch on it at all, it would have, it would have upset the fans regardless. But they did like the exact perfect amount, which was awesome. For the movie itself, I thought it was a little strange. You know, you think about catering to audiences. And Marvel's got, they got to cater to the fans who know Fantastic Four, but they also have to cater to the fans that don't. And I thought it was a little strange the way that I looked over at Kat when the movie started. I was like, whoa, they just like went right into it, and they didn't take any time for setup. They barely had a Marvel like opening sequence. It was just boom, Reed Richards, and I was like, what? Oh, okay. I guess we're here. We're in this. They didn't really go into a lot of the detail like every Fantastic Four movie. The last one that was Despicable did it a little too much, where they went into them getting their superpowers and spending so much time on that. I kind of wish they kind of did the opposite on this one, where they didn't set it up to where for new fans of the Fantastic Four, I can just imagine myself sitting there in the theater and being like, huh. It's like they just always had the powers, and then they kind of touched on the backstory, a little bit of them doing that mission and then getting the back, and then through like
that's a good
kind of
point.
like a flashback. But it's like to me, it didn't really bring those new fans in like I was kind of hoping it did. You don't have to spend a whole lot of time on them, going up to space and getting superpowers, but having a sequence to show them getting that would have been a little bit more welcome, I think. But for me, it didn't affect me too much on that front because, like I said, I've been a Fantastic Four fan a long time. We've been there, done that with the other movies and such. So was it really needed for the comic fans? No, but for new fans, yes. For the story, I thought it was really well done. And I think it was Josh that mentioned the cinematography was outstanding, and very, very top notch, especially the space sequences. Like you said, Silver Surfer riding on a black hole was wild. Wasn't expecting to see that, but that was very, very cool. And I'm a big fan of space movies, so it's like it was scratching all my itches. The fight sequence, gonna say I kind of agree with what you were talking, whoever said it earlier about people saying it was underwhelming. A little bit. I feel that, and I can totally understand where I was coming from. But it wasn't necessarily the fight sequence. It was the plan that they had where they were just like, we're gonna bait, they kind of set it up with Sue going like, we're not gonna bait him, and then they used him as bait, and their freaking whole plan was like, let's set him down in a carrier and then just move him to the Fantastic building. Not even anywhere else other than their home base. It's like, come on. Like, you could have done something a little bit more, thought out than that, but whatever. These are all very, very small things that I had just kind of rattling around in my brain when we left. But overall, it was far beyond what I was expecting. I went in with the expectation that this was going to be incredible, but I had the something inside of me was like, this is going to flop. Like, I hope it doesn't, but I just felt like it was going to flop. Especially with how much they were pushing it. Overall, it exceeded my expectations. I wouldn't say top 5 like Josh, and that's really hard for me to say because I really want it to be in the top 5, but it's not. It's definitely top 10 for me, I'll say. The only other thing I would say that probably could have saved not a lot of what I'm critiquing, but kind of my excitement for the film, if they had not done that promo where they just flat out said, Galactus wants our child. That could have saved so much expectation. That was a big plot point for this movie. And they just threw it out there in a trailer. And it was like, why? That gave away so much of the movie. And if they had kept that detail out and just showed the rest of the scene, I feel like that would have gone over a whole lot better for a lot of the fans. But that's kind of where my mind goes on it. I'm really excited. I thought the Dr. Doom sequence, it was nice to see him in the cloak, knowing it as well that it was Robert Downey Jr., even cooler, but also kind of underwhelming because it's like, okay, we knew he was coming. You didn't really show us anything. There's nothing. I mean, we know he's coming. We know Franklin's going to be involved. People were speculating that from the get-go, but it didn't leave too much to be like, wow. It's just like, yeah, we saw that at San Diego. We saw him in a cloak. Like it just, yeah. So overall, very impressed, very excited that they did this. Very, very impressed with the fact that they did it right. And I hope that they can transition this and make it make sense into Doomsday. Because right now they kind of they started them in their universe, they left them in their universe, and everything right now is fan theory, and I would have liked a little bit more of a bridge. But overall, I will say probably 8.7 out of 10. I was very
that's what I was saying. I feel like they should, because we only have one more movie till Doomsday.
Yeah,
we had a pretty decent post-credit scene with Thunderbolts. I really feel like they should have, because now we have to add more to it to kind of give us that build up to Doom. Like, showed us his face, gave us like maybe like something more, because the Thunderbolts post-credit scene was decently long. Give us something like that.
Yeah.
With just a little bit more Doom, and then like completely mic drop with the post-credit scene from Spider-Man Brand New Day. That's coming out before Doomsday. I feel like they that was like a missed opportunity. It was cool we got to see him, but I feel like there should have been a little more, because it's like right around the corner. That's the first time we saw Doom at all in the MCU.
Yep. Exactly.
Right. Let's jump it over to Steven.
Last and least. Let's go.
We absolutely hated it.
Technically, the least was Kat, because she didn't talk.
Hated it so much. Hated it. I am not a big Fantastic Four person at all.
Bad answer.
Honestly, listen, yeah. Apparently now it will be. I've never been a huge fan. They've been like, while I have respect for their place in comic history, they've never been like the number one in any metric for me. I always got like I always got that like familial thing from like other series and other Marvel, especially Marvel. Like Marvel always did the family thing really well with a bunch of different series. But I was intrigued by this movie from the first trailer where they saw the retro futuristic look and feel. I was so excited for that. I would say this is my number one. My number one feel good about the movie is that retro futuristic aesthetic. It's done so well. The visual effects are done well. Herbie, I have to second that. Herbie is like the new.
He's the GOAT
for me. He's the GOAT. Goated. When Reed reveals that Herbie is run reel to reel, or he's controlled by a tape for the Home in Space tape, I was like, oh man, give me that analog post future, like. So it was really cool. I love that. I love the cast interaction, like the familial interactions were really felt really authentic. And at the beginning of the movie, I was kind of like, is this going to be forced? Like there was a little bit of like the family dinner, especially in the trailers, like that gave me a little pause because I'm like, I wonder how well they're going to mesh together. And I felt like they ended up coming together pretty well. I loved the Thing. This was my favorite on-screen representation of the Thing, and I could see like I'm more excited about the Thing than I've ever been about the Hulk. In a movie, he was always kind of there for me, and now it's like, well, the Thing's actually he's kind of Hulk-like, but in the same scale. I get well, not really the same scale, but anyway, I'm revealing my DC first mentality right now. I thought the story when I first left the theater, I thought the story was not good. Like, and by not good, I meant almost like non-existent. Like this was totally in service of introduction. Really thin. I was like, wow, I feel like they wasted Galactus, and that's how I felt when I left the theater. But read a couple of really interesting reviews on the movie and thought about it a lot. Like I thought of this movie way more than I thought about Superman. I just liked Superman when I was in the theater. I was like, that was a good movie. That was well done. Pacing was great. And Fantastic Four, I was like, I wouldn't have said it in the moment, but I almost felt disappointed. After thinking about it and thinking about the things that I complain about Marvel doing and how few of those mistakes they made in this movie things that I consider mistakes, things that have caused me to really dislike like this last phase of Marvel. It wasn't present. This was a character study, character driven movie. The story, and it was said earlier that like people complaining about their fight against Galactus. I think that actually, thinking about it like after seeing it and not thinking about that when I left the theater, I think that was in service of this movie, is that they presented him with an unwinnable situation to basically instruct the audience that no, this is not what the movie is about. The movie is about them getting to know this version of this family, getting to know the intricacies of their relationships, and we're not going to kill Galactus, so it's not done. Like that, I thought that was great. Like that was one of my highlights having left the theater, that they didn't kill him. But yeah, it felt, and it took me a while to get here. I felt the same way leaving this theater that I did leaving the first Iron Man movie. I was very much like, I don't know, this was that, and that was this, and I'm like, and thinking about it now, I'm like, I could see this movie growing and growing and growing on me, and in maybe like a couple years, I might call it like it might be a top 5 Marvel movie for me. It just depends on where they obviously like. Actually, I'm not even gonna say that. It doesn't really depend on where they take these characters. This is such a great self-contained thing that if this was the one and done, and I almost felt before they announced it for Doomsday, I felt like they were going to do a one and done with this cast. Pedro Pascal is 50 plus years old, like, or maybe he's right at 50. I mean, he's not a spring chicken. He's not gonna anchor the Fantastic Four for 20 years. Like some of the other actors have done for superhero characters in the past. So to me, it always felt like this was like an experiment, and it was going to be a cool experiment, and then we were going to get the real young, totally joking with this, the Timothy Chalamet, Reed Richards movie, Fantastic Four movie. But it left me wanting more from these characters. Unfortunately, it left me wanting more from their Earth, which I don't think is going to be the focus. I don't think it's going to be the focus of Doomsday. Of course,
No.
if we're getting into theory. If we get into theories, I have a couple on that front as well. But it was just really it was a fun movie. It was a better movie than I gave it credit for the day after I saw it. And I think it really, really suffered from Superman's success, especially like in the people that I've talked to about like they comparing and contrasting the two. Yeah, I really my only complaint, my only like true complaint that I haven't been able to like that I haven't corrected on and come around to that it's a great movie. Pedro Pascal's Reed Richards was conveniently smart. So if they needed him to do some quick calculations to get them out of danger, he was a genius. If they needed him to do anything else, he's like Sheldon on the Big Bang Theory. Like he's
Yeah.
disabled. So it's like the way that they played him, and I didn't even dislike it. That's the thing, is I didn't like outright think like, oh, this is awful. I'm just like, wow, this is, if they hadn't, oh gosh, I can't remember the actress's name that played Sue. Oh my gosh, and I love her. I think she's great.
Vanessa Kirby.
Kirby.
Vanessa Kirby. She if they had any other actress that doesn't have her, I think she has excellent like screen presence. If they had any other actress trying to be the juxtaposition of Pedro Pascal's Reed Richards, I don't think the movie would have worked. I think her confidence and her power kind of like allow that version of the character to exist in this movie in a way that doesn't feel like belabored. And I guess, like I said, I like the thing. Reed's great, Sue's great, and Johnny was he was funny, but he was like, that's who I expect that character to be. Like he was the most like, no surprises here. That's what he is. That's his whole deal. But yeah, I like the movie, and I just think it's important for everybody to understand that the surfboard is not part of the body. Best moment of the whole movie. A year later, 1 year later, or 4
No,
is it
no,
1
no,
year
no,
or 4
no.
years later? When he said that, like it was a time had passed. Because he had said it earlier.
The 4
and
years
he was
later was
saying
the
it-
post-credit scene. That was at the end of the movie, though, when they're about to go on the Burt show or whatever.
Right, but wasn't that a year after Galactus?
Mm.
And I think it was when he said
The baby looked exactly the same.
I thought there was a time. I could have sworn there was a time jump, but he's like, I thought it was so funny because he was still harping on it. Like after that time,
I know
he was
what
still
you're trying to
approaching.
figure, Steven. I think I know what it is. It had been a year since they were on the show previously.
Oh, really?
Huh?
I think
There was
is
a
that what it
year.
was?
Someone said a year, or it popped out on the screen. Because I remember there was a year, or there was a time difference between when they defeated Galactus and when they did the talk show, and then there was the 4 year gap for the post credit sequence. So I got confused. But what I
Doesn't
thought was
matter.
so funny about that is he's like still like hyper fixated on her after a time had elapsed. Like he's still like, the thing you really need to understand is this, and he's telling the makeup lady about it, and she's like, "That's great, that's awesome, good for you." I thought that was hilarious, but yeah.
All right, before we move on to fan theories and all that kind of stuff, I just want to touch back. Kat, you have anything else to add?
Yes.
On?
I got my notes here.
Okay.
You
here we-
ready? Okay. I really liked the Herbie. He was my favorite character. But I will agree with you guys on the CGI of Franklin, especially when the thing's like holding him against his arm. It kind of just looked off. It gave Renesmee from Twilight.
It's not that bad.
Yes.
Yes, it was. In some parts, like that part where he's like against the CGI of the CGI. No. I also, the scene where Reed and Sue are talking to each other, and they have like Franklin in their arms, and he's like, "Oh, how'd it go?" Where he's like, "I hate the way I am sometimes."
Oh, he thinks of the worst possible scenarios, so he can always forget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt so bad for him in that scene because I'm just like, he can't help it. And she just agrees with him and is like, "Yeah, I hate the way you are sometimes." And it's like, oh,
Yeah, he was pouring his
But-
heart out. He was having a moment.
yeah, he was having a
And she's like,
moment.
Fuck you and your emotions.
And then I really liked the part where you had Sue and her Wanda Maximoff pose.
Oh yeah, I noticed that too. Yeah.
Yeah, like that was like almost too spot on. Like that was a
Mhm.
Wanda pose.
I didn't realize that till you just said it. That's true.
Yeah.
It's ironically the same director who did WandaVision.
Yep.
Mhm.
Mm.
But it gave very like strong mama kind of vibes. I think that's what they were trying to give off, was kind of the same vibes they were giving with WandaVision, was that strong mom, strong empowerment. Yeah. But as for a favorite, I might have to come back to you because I'm rewatching all the movies right now. But I'd say it's like top 10. Top 10 favorite.
Yeah.
I don't think it's my top
That's
5.
not a bad place to be. I mean, there's a lot of movies so that
We all
Mhm.
agree how ballsy it was, though, for Reed just to be so open and say, "Yeah, Galactus wanted our baby, but we said no, so you guys are all." Kind of
Yeah.
I'm like,
could've
bro,
just
you
kept
have
his
some
mouth
balls
shut.
on you, man. Like, you did not think that through. Like,
No.
Smartest man alive.
man.
Yeah.
Could have
Smartest
just
man
kept
alive.
quiet.
and I love how like there was a Galactus cult, and they all thought going to Mount Everest was gonna save them and stuff like that.
That was good.
I
That
feel
was
like that
really
was
good.
like actually some shit that would happen here. So
they're like, well, when the machine passes by, we're gonna jump up and then land on it. It'll be fine. Like we won't get eaten.
Mhm.
Totally fine.
and also like what's gonna happen with Galactus' ship? It's just hovering around the Earth. So
Thank
he has-
you. That's
he
been my
has
question
reached-
since
But
day
now
one.
that whole scene where he's like, it's gonna take 10 years to understand his existence and all that. He has all that there now, so he can like probably fast track that 10 years of trying to understand his stuff.
Dude, no joke. Ashley and I are laying in bed that night, and I'm about to go to sleep, and you have those like random thoughts that pop in your head, and they just like wake you up. That was one of them. I literally, I'm about to fall asleep, and I just go, the fuck are they gonna do with that giant ship? And I literally, I said it out loud. I was like, Ashley, I have a question. What are they gonna do? She's like, I don't know. Go to sleep. She's like,
Well, we already handled this, Andrew. We already settled this. Their Earth's Michael Keaton is going to start a salvage company. He's going to go up and salvage it. The government's going to take it away. Like Doom and Latveria is going to take it away from him.
This is
It's all predestined.
and now we'll get the
Did
retro.
anybody else feel like though, and I feel like I think they did this on purpose to trick you. But remember the whole sequence where he's creating the bridge and he wants to teleport Earth to a different side of the galaxy?
Mhm.
I honestly thought like they were cooking that's how he's gonna actually accidentally put his Earth in the 616 and
That's
cause
where I was
Ooh.
thinking
I'm
too.
like that would have been like a perfect way to like set that up. But
Yes.
that was-
I thought that's exactly what it was going to play out when that whole sequence started. I'm like, oh, this is what's going to set up the convergence situation and like how we're going to get to this point with all the stuff with Secret Wars and so I was a little disappointed that that's not what happened. But I mean, even if it wasn't the 616 universe, just ended up in another universe and they're like, clashing and everything like that would have been crazy.
I think it's a good move forward for Marvel to take a break from the hero causing the problem, the ultimate cataclysm. Like, let's have the bad guys just being bad and the good guys trying to stop it versus like I know that worked really well in Iron Man. Like he created every problem that he faced.
How did it work in
But-
Ant-Man 3?
In Ant-Man 3, oh man. Ant-Man, now we're talking top 5. Don't get me started on it.
yeah.
Now we're getting to the upper echelons of Marvel films. we don't have the time to get into Ant-Man. Talk about Ant-Man 3.
Justice for MODOK.
It's so awful. It's so bad.
Don't be a dick,
Oh, man.
Derek.
Oh man, yeah. There's so many things with this that like. I mean, I think most of us can agree that like we did not think that this is how this movie was going to play out, as far as that it was going to be a more self-contained story than it ended up being. Like I definitely feel like that the consensus was, oh, this movie's leading us into what's coming next, and there's going to be something like the planet's actually going to get eaten and they have to escape the universe or whatever version, or like we were talking about with the convergence and stuff like that. And it really ended up being such a self-contained, like within their own universe type of story, even though we're supposedly in the multiverse saga that is not the multiverse saga. This has been the most baffling phase of Marvel ever. But yeah, it's such an interesting thing. Like, I'm not mad that it's a self-contained story. It's just, I think, Steven, you had mentioned that like one of the reviews you were talking about, that this is a phase 1 Marvel film.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, yeah.
How this is done. And that's a really good way to
yeah, we needed that.
Yeah, it's just a really well done way to describe it. Is it's a phase 1 Marvel film. So it's just, we're just at this point in time, so it feels out of place. Well, for me, in certain aspects, it feels out of place. But had it been even in a earlier phase, like a phase 2 or something like that, it wouldn't feel that way. It's just because we've been doing this whole multiverse thing, but only like 1 in 3 projects actually touch on it, it's just been really, all over the map in that regard. But
It's
let's
kind of
touch.
revealing. Like, oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
I think it's kind of revealing. Like, I'll keep it brief. It's kind of revealing how like exhausted everyone is for keeping track of all this stuff. Like the audience keeping track of all the moving parts, and it's like we get a reprise movie, like a take it easy, and then all everyone's doing is like, how does this fit in? It's like the Charlie conspiracy theory on It's Always Sunny, where he's like the what's the
On the
God, and
whiteboard,
It's Always
yeah.
Sunny, yeah, and he's trying to connect it. It's like, no, this is your break. This is a break, everybody. You get
Right.
to take it easy and just enjoy a movie.
Well, and Kevin Feige, like they had that big interview that he did, and he's talking all about like past, current, and future phases of Marvel and everything like that, and how they're gonna be changing things up a lot with going forward, and dwindling down the amount of things that come out, whether it's movies or series or whatever, and it's like there's good and bad to be taken from the conversation, also with a grain of salt, because we've heard things like this many times, and then other things play out. But one of the things that he mentioned specifically about with their output is that you start, and also in reference to the whole like reboot-ish type of situation that they're leading up to past Secret Wars, is that you get to a certain point where it becomes homework for people. That's why they feel like, it's not the only reason, but that's why they feel like that Thunderbolts wasn't the success it needed to be, because it centered around a lot of characters that you had to have watched the different shows on Disney Plus, or 1 or 2 particular movies that came out in the last couple years and stuff like that, but they've only been seen prior, type of thing. And so you're, like you said, like it becomes, you have to do homework in order to understand what the hell's going on. But I do still stand by my fact that had they just initially called it the New Avengers right off the bat, that would have sold a lot more tickets. Would it have made sense right off the bat? No. But
My rebuttal to the whole homework thing is I don't think it necessarily feels like homework, because at the end of the day, if you're a huge like sci-fi, science fiction, superhero person, nothing ever is going to feel like homework, because I think Superman just proved that. People still love the superhero shit. I think it wouldn't feel like homework if Marvel hasn't dropped the quality.
But you didn't have to watch 20 odd movies and several series to understand what was happening in Superman, because it's a brand new universe.
No. But my point is that people still like the superhero genre. I think people are I think it's more of a Marvel fatigue, because much I hate to say that, because Marvel has dropped the ball on a lot of things. I feel like if they kept that momentum going after Endgame, it wouldn't feel like homework. People would be excited to watch the new thing.
And
because we've had such bad, since it's been such kind of mid, people are like hesitant to watch the next thing. So I think it wouldn't really feel like homework if Marvel didn't drop the ball the way they did. Because if you're a fan of something like me, I was hesitant on like Agatha and Ironheart and stuff like that, but I was still excited to watch the new Marvel thing.
Sure.
Yeah. But I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. I'm with you 100%, and I'm right. I'm one of those people too. But you are a Marvel fanboy, no offense, and you used the example of if you're into the sci-fi, fantasy, that sort of thing, or superhero genre. But they're talking general audience. I cannot tell you the amount of times I have conversations with people, whether it's my coworkers or other people I know and stuff like that, that aren't a part of this show or in this sphere type of thing. And I'll be like, hey, did you watch this? And they're like, no, I didn't catch it, or I'll catch it on streaming or something like that. And it doesn't matter if it's one of the movies, if it's one of the series, stuff like that. Now, I'm with you. If the quality, or if we were still ramping up towards something that felt the way that we were at with the Infinity War and Endgame level, then yeah, that probably would draw in more of that casual movie-going audience. But that's the people I'm talking about with the whole like feels like homework thing. I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about the average Joe or Jane or whatever you want to talk about, that only goes and sees 5-ish movies a year type of thing in the entire year type of thing, because tickets are expensive, and I get that. And so it's like you got to give them a reason to show up. And you're right, part of that is quality.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying those are the people that, like, in the conversation, in my opinion, that Kevin Feige or whoever, because it goes beyond just the Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
It goes into Star Wars. It goes into the DC camp as well. Like it's one of those things. But you usually a good example, like the Superman thing did a good job of, they're completely resetting a universe. They're jumping you right into the middle of a story, but still made you understand what was going on and made it fun and engaging and all that kind of stuff when you're starting from scratch. And that's very impressive to pull off, I do have to say. But before
oh,
go ahead,
sorry.
Steve.
You know what I think? I think it's everybody's right simultaneously. I think that it's a situation where the homework is like when the quality of the product is low, the value that's derived from it is the interconnectedness of the worlds. That's what they're like, the cinematic universe. That's why they don't talk a lot about, or they didn't used to talk about individual movie quality. They're like cinematic universe. Everything's going to be a cinematic universe now. And with Superman, I think, like, I as someone who does dive headfirst into things that he really likes, I did not need to know the backstory of Mr. Terrific for him to be my new favorite character. Honestly, I didn't even feel compelled to ask my friends that know more about it. I was like, I loved that character. I loved the performance. I loved everything about it. It was at a level of quality where it's like, that character, it's like in Iron Man, I walked into that theater in 2008 and I had never read a comic where Iron Man was featured, like, ever. And I left that movie like, I don't need to read 100 comics to know that I love this character now, because the quality was so high. Guardians of the Galaxy, I did not need to know the backstory of Groot. I did not need to know why Groot is the way he is, or what planet he comes from, or any of that stuff. I was just on board. And I think that to tie it back into the Fantastic Four, I think it's why they really didn't need too much. I agree that it could have been a little teeny bit more of backstory for them, but I was kind of on board because the quality, the characterization, the writing was pretty good. I think this is what Marvel is not. It's not. Do we need to do these long-term stories? Do we need to do this? Is Disney Plus format the way to go? Good characters, good writing. Don't betray the core character, or don't betray the core concept of the characters. Full stop. And then stuff doesn't feel belabored. That's why Star Wars, I love Star Wars like passionately. That's why Star Wars feels like a job. And I'm like, why does it feel so tough to get into Star Wars when I was in my teens and 20s, I would dive into a infinitely deep pool of like universal lore for Star Wars, and it felt effortless and fun. And it's like it's just that, but that being said, if they continue on this path like they've done for the Fantastic Four, we could see sort of a dead heat race between DC and Marvel for like who's making the best movie at any given time. And that's good for all of us. Like, that's good for movie people, casual viewers, because like you said, Andrew, if someone's only going to see 5 movies a year, I guarantee you the average moviegoer is seeing Superman and Fantastic Four this year. I can promise you that. Those are 2 of the 5. They just the numbers tell us that. The amount of money the movies make tell us that. So if those movies are good, if this is what it will, to me, who has felt very much like Marvel is homework and it's been a slog to get through certain things, even good things, like Moon Knight was good. What I saw of it, and I was like, this still feels belabored.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we're hopefully the Fantastic Four is the new trajectory. I'm excited for Doomsday. I'm excited for Spider-Man, and I would not have said that 6 months ago.
This is something I just thought about, though. It's kind of like people said the homework feels like because everything connects, so you have to watch the last 20 things to understand this. But if you really think about it, especially since Endgame, and this has actually been a complaint people have had, most of this stuff hasn't connected at all. That's been the big complaint people had. Like, they're like, where are we going with this? So, like, when you hear people say, oh, I have to watch the last 20 movies to understand this one thing, I'm like, but really, about 90% of everything since Endgame has been its own, like, pocket little story that you literally, That's another thing that confused me when I hear that. Because I'm like, there really isn't a bunch of homework. You can skip Ironheart, you can skip Moon Knight, you can skip a few of the movies and completely understand Secret Wars because none of it tied together. And then that was a big issue people have had lately. But now people are saying it's homeworks all connect. So it's just like, which one is it? Is it homework or are you guys complaining that it's not connecting enough? Like
so there's a difference between a plot thread, and these shows explain concepts that affect the greater universe, like and affect the greater like state of the Marvel universe. So there's like and it's not so much that's like, oh, I would agree. I don't buy the whole idea of, oh, I'm confused, I can't go see Spider-Man, or I can't go see this because I'm confused about what's going on. No, but to derive like that deep enrichment from it, like there are things that are explained in the shows, like especially like Loki and stuff like that, that are like, this is how the universe works. What was that?
Loki's the main one. That one I understand, but that's like one in a few. That you have like that. If you didn't watch Loki, that you probably won't understand Deadpool and stuff like that. But
Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness is the sequel to WandaVision, like straight up and down. Like if you didn't watch that, basically a hero, a straight up like one of the core heroes in the universe moving forward.
All you had to do is watch
one show. Bad.
You had to watch 6 episodes of one show. You didn't have to watch 20 movies to understand Multiverse of Madness.
But you're still talking about people that like on Disney Plus is an additional. You have to pay the subscription for Disney Plus, and I know to us that's like who consume a lot of media, that doesn't seem like a lot, but like. Yeah. Some people are like, oh God, I can't afford, X, Y, or Z, so I have to watch this show, or to then pay the $20 or whatever in some markets to go see the movie. And I get the argument. It's just that and you have to admit, like there are things. This is the Fantastic Four is the most contained story they've done in a hot minute, where you don't have to have experienced anything else. And even then, like Thor: Love and Thunder, it helped greatly to have watched other movies, even though it's not a great movie. It would have helped greatly. The third Guardians of the Galaxy movie had a little bit of like enhancement by no required viewing, obviously, but the narrative exists for a reason. It's not just people like pulling it out of whole cloth. But it's like, it's also, to your point, there's some fallacy to it. But if you can't pluck a movie out of a movie series and watch it on its own merit, people are going to start thinking that way. If you can't pluck a show out and watch it, so people are going to start thinking that way. So I'll give you that. They do pick and choose like certain gaps in it.
Yeah.
But to me, when I say homework, it's key. It's partially that, but it's also partially keeping up with the volume. And there is sort of a fear of also not understanding, a FOMO of not like being part of like when you see something on screen, you're like, oh my God, is that from a show, or is that a character I didn't know? Like everyone pops for that moment, and I have no context over that one moment. And I feel like that's what was great about Fantastic Four, is we were all kind of experiencing it together without any ways or measures from the greater cinematic universe. And that has not happened in quite a while.
I feel like that was just a thought I just thought of. I'm like, well, because it kind of contradicts each other, but I totally get where you're coming from at the same time.
Let's do this. For the last few minutes, let's jump into a few fan theories that we have. Josh, I know you said you had a couple specifically you want to talk on.
I just have my one Dr. Doom one, but sorry.
Go for it.
Keep going. Oh, with the post-credit scene. So at first I thought he was there to kidnap Franklin, and that's why their ship arrives in Thunderbolts. But I actually think, and this is, I feel like this is going to be a mixed bag of this ends up what happening. But I feel like because they filmed that on Doomsday, I feel like he's just there to talk to Sue, because Sue is already shown in the movie that she's able to make ties with villains like Mole Man and stuff, and everybody just hates Reed, but everybody fucks with Sue. So I feel like he is actually just there to talk to Sue, because I think why we kept getting those little sneak peeks of him throughout the movie, like Latveria and stuff, I think he has already discovered the multiverse, and I think he's already been traveling around exploring the multiverse, which is why he wasn't in that movie. And I think why we have the whole RDJ situation going on is, I think while Doom was traveling the multiverse, he came across the Sacred Timeline, and saw that there was a universe with no Doctor Doom because of He Who Remains, and it turns out that the Doctor Doom of that universe, He Who Remains, turned into a Tony Stark variant, and he saw that. And I think because He Who Remains made the sacred timeline, he pulled out everything that would have been a threat. He pulled out all the mutants, he pulled out Doctor Doom, and he created the timeline that he wanted. That way, nobody could oppose him. And I think Doctor Doom is going to realize that the way He Who Remains got around that is he made the true Victor Von Doom in that universe ended up being a Tony Stark variant. And I think that's him coming to Sue, pretty much showing him all the stuff that he discovered about the multiverse. So I think that's what it is. I think that's why we're going to see why he looks like RDJ. I think because there's a theory going around that Victor Von Doom was adopted by the Starks, which is why he goes by Tony Starks as a baby type thing. And that's all due to He Remains trying to keep the sacred timeline the way he wants. And obviously that's going to piss off Doom. So, but I think that's my theory about what's actually going on in that scene, if that makes sense at all.
I mean, there's definitely some interesting like plot devices in there for sure. Does anybody else have any theories or anything that or questions that they feel left unanswered at the end of this that they hope to see moving forward?
Sorry.
Go ahead, Steven. I'll think of mine.
I actually have a Doctor Doom theory, but it's more based on less lore and more based off of they not showing his face. I felt was a really interesting choice, all things considered. It was just we've already seen it, we've already gotten a taste of it, what he's going to look like if he came to Comic-Con stage. I actually kind of think that we're getting played with the RDJ Doctor Doom stuff a little bit. I think there's more. I couldn't even put my finger on what it is specifically, but I feel like it's more than meets the eye, and they're not showing him as intentional.
Not to cut you off, but it's already been talked about that they're talking about keeping him as Doom post Secret Wars. That's a big story that broke the last 2 days. So I think
Sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry, keep going.
No, I was just gonna say, that to me, it's one. I'm sure it is at face value, what they're saying it is. But I just have this nagging feeling that there's something that's going on there. That there's going to be some sort of hook. It just it never set right with me, and it didn't make good business sense to pay him the money to come back to be the main villain when you have so many super capable non-MCU leveraged actors that could play that character, and you make an equal splash. It always seemed like such a weird thing, and I was like, they better, to Josh's point, they better have a really good reason for doing it. But at the same time, I'm kind of is Doom in the Fantastic Four, the 838, what's their Earth? 838?
828.
828. Awesome. Yeah. Their Doom is maybe not the RDJ Doom. And that was my big thing is showing him, having him turn to just look at her almost made too much. It was low hanging fruit, but at the same time, it's it was at some level, I don't want to say insulting, because I didn't feel put off by it, but it's why didn't you just show him? We know who it's going to be. Are they going to change his face, or is he going to have a different Is there a beard style that they're trying to surprise?
They didn't want to pay the $20 million for a 2-second clip.
Listen, if they've got him now at this point, the man doesn't need money. There's something. There's something going on. I don't buy all that. It's too expensive to get XYZ actor back. They have so many. These deals are so richly developed, and if we need you for this minute, if we need you for that minute, they get detailed about it. If there could, now to your point, maybe there's some sort of residuals thing they were trying to avoid with the Fantastic Four. They don't want actually, now that I'm saying that loud, that could be a good reason not to do it, because that dilutes the cast's residual money. If he gets a cut too, maybe he's got a pay to play residuals deal for the movie. That could be a thing, but at the same time, don't even include it. Don't even have it in there at all. Just film something else, with the actors you have. Put in some. Oh, Galactus post credit scene would have been awesome. Silver Surfer post credit scene would have been great. Something else other than that, because it establishes nothing and sets up nothing. It's just, oh, Doom exists in the Fantastic Four universe. Who knew? That's crazy. But to back to the theory thing, like, yeah, I think they're gonna pull a shenanigan with Doom. I think there's gonna be some sort of deal, because this is the first time where they're taking an actor and putting him in playing a different character multiversally. We've had different corporeal forms for different actors, but correct me if I'm wrong, gang, because I might be misremembering. This is literally the first time they've done this, where an actor has played two different characters very intentionally. Oh no, Johnny Storm, Captain America. I guess they did just do it.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like that was Deadpool. Everything's
Yeah,
is
the other one
permitted
was
in
more
Deadpool.
for a cameo. That was
Right.
The main reason why I feel like he has to be the Doctor Doom from that universe is because one of the best parts about the whole Reed Richards and Doctor Doom story is their history. And so to have, if Reed's in this universe and then we get a Doctor Doom in a completely different universe, like the movie's not going to work the same because they're strangers when the whole dynamic between those two is all their history. So I feel like it has to be. And I think, like I said, them showing that he wasn't there was just showing, hey, yeah, Doctor Doom's in this universe. But I feel like if it's a Reed and a Doctor Doom from two different universes, it's not going to mesh well like
That
it
makes
did in the book.
sense.
Well, in response to that, like, admittedly, the Doctor Doom that's there is clearly going to be like, he exists and he's there. I'm saying that I think we're getting. I'm not 100% convinced that the RDJ Doom is their Doom until I see it with my own two eyeballs. Until they can say everything they want. They've lied relentlessly about these movies for years and
You
years.
want to make it a fun bet? Want to bet $50 on it, and whoever loses has to pay up $50.
Ooh,
$50 that what
RDJ
specifically?
that
Ooh,
Doom is from this
bet.
universe, and like RDJ is going to be he actually is the real Doctor Doom. There's no like twist.
There's no twist. There's no twist on. See, you're leaving it super open ended if we're saying there's no twist, because there's
No twist
there
as
could
like
be
a
lot
different
of-
actor is going to play him. Like he's not the real Doctor Doom. That's what it sounded like you were getting at.
God, I want to take that bet because I feel like they're up to something, but no.
Josh
I'm
just
not
wants
gonna.
$50, dude.
I got something. I got something, but I mean, it might be the same amount as $50.
Josh, you're a cool guy. I would give you
was gonna
the
say,
$50. I'd just give it to you.
Whoever loses has to buy the other one the commemorative popcorn bucket, is what I was going to say.
Holy
Ooh,
shit,
that's a good one. Yeah.
That might be a house payment.
I
by
know.
the
I was
time
going to
that
say it
movie
might be
comes out.
worse than $50. I don't know.
Okay, I will agree to that. I will agree to that for sure, but that's subject
Somebody
to
write this down.
availability. So if there's it is documented on YouTube. So
All right, let's draft the contract.
if it's no aftermarket, if it's not available at the theater, no aftermarket.
That's fair.
It's got to be. You got to get it from the theater.
That's
'Cause
fine.
I can't afford a $500.
Okay, then
Josh is
if
a poet.
it's not there, whatever the price of the bucket was, we just instead of $50, we just give that price. Give that cash.
That's what I was going to
Again,
say.
I'll say, man, I'll send it to you right now. I'm probably wrong.
No, it'd be
I'm probably
fun.
wrong.
So again, so it's not open ended. If Doom is from that universe and RDJ is the real for Doctor Doom, then I win. If it ends up being a ploy that Marvel's doing and RDJ is not the real Doctor Doom, I'm assuming that's what you were getting at. It's a different actor.
Let's not
right?
say real. If he is the Fantastic Four Doctor Doom that we saw at the end of this movie, that's the bet.
He's
And
saying
that is
from that
RDJ.
universe?
that
Yeah.
one that looks.
Then you've
looks
already
like-
lost because that's
The
already
one that
confirmed.
listen, I'm telling you, I've got a feeling, and if confirmed or not, like, I've got a feeling they're gonna pull some chicanery.
Virtual shake on it. There you go.
Virtual shake. He at the end of the movie, that is one that is letting the baby caress his face. Which weird choice.
Is the Doctor
But-
Doom from that universe?
Yeah. Deal.
I don't know. Something I seen on TikTok that I thought was interesting was if you look at the score on that like end credit scene, it's Doom, but it's a question mark. Like
Yep.
Doom?
Doom?
Like, why the question mark? Why? Unless it's from their universe and Sue already knows him or they've already met and they're like, I thought we defeated you. Why are you here?
Hmm. Is that a thing for the comics? You remember the Sam Raimi, not Sam Raimi movie, but that era? Is it true that Sue and Doom had a relationship
Yeah,
before?
that's a very
There's
common
so
thing.
many
There's
different.
so many, but yeah, like Doom has, like we talked about, Doom has a relationship with the Scarlet Witch, with Sue Storm. Yeah, he's kind of all over the place.
Yeah,
Gets
that's
around.
Josh's favorite.
He's
Yeah,
slinging
you
dong
gotta-
everywhere, dude.
That's
All
the
right,
popcorn bucket. That's
any
the popcorn bucket.
Any
Him
last
slinging
theories
Doom
we want
dong.
to touch on before we call it a night?
Yeah, there was one that I saw on TikTok, and it was it basically hinged it, and Josh kind of talked about it a little bit too. I'll say it like this: I think at the end of this, we're gonna think more of Robert Downey Jr. as Doom than we will as Iron Man. Because
Ooh.
I do. I think that's gonna.
If this is a theory, I think it is. I seen the same one.
He touched on the one, and it hinges on that fact that the Starks adopted him, because there's a moment in the elevator in Endgame where Tony's talking to his dad when he traveled back in time for the stone, and his dad says, "Yeah, my wife's pregnant," and he looks shocked. Now you can take that at face value. Back then, it's like, oh, he's talking about him. But what if he's talking about they adopted? When did they have
the child that didn't make it? Like
exactly, yeah. And so because
so
out of that,
they adopted
in that pain, they adopted Victor Von Doom. But then in that universe, they just named him Tony Stark. And so that's the theory. I think that it's going to get to the point where it's like, okay, Doom's going to wreak so much havoc. We're going to realize that the whole point of the multiverse is that they've run out of room on Earth to keep this story contained. So they've expanded it to the multiverse. And with that, the characters are going to expand to the multiverse, and they're going to bring in other characters from other universes as well to make this such a big story. But in expanding with that, they have to keep that central character to tie everything in, and that's going to have to be Tony Stark or Victor Von Doom. I think that they're going to come out and realize, they have to, that Tony Stark is one of the variants of Doom, and thus you're going to realize that Doom is the character. Tony Stark is the variant of that character.
And no, it's not a Tony Stark variant. He was never meant to be Iron Man. He was
exactly.
forever Doom. Because if you guys remember, Robert Downey Jr. originally auditioned to play Doctor Doom before Iron Man. Like that's the role he initially
That's what's going to make Iron Man so special, is that he's a one of one, where you have other Spider-Men of other universes that we've already seen, but there's only going to be one Iron Man. As far as I know, and correct me if I'm wrong,
or one in the
Iron Man. Correct. In the MCU, there's been no touch whatsoever of any other Iron Man.
Yeah.
Well, in the What If series, they have the other variant of him.
No, not another. What other variant of him?
The one that is with who is he with?
On Sakaar. He's with Gamora and stuff on Sakaar.
Yeah.
That'd be the only time though.
I don't know. I forget what.
I don't know if we can.
What scooper person said this, but
yeah.
I follow like the scoops and the leaks, and I don't know if this is confirmed or like I said, but there was one going around, and it's been popping up a lot lately, that we're actually going to be going all the way back to Iron Man 1, and Doom. They're going to do a retcon where Doom was actually there and during the events of Iron Man 1, and that's where I think like that's going to be him exploring the multiverse and finding out that. And Victor Von Doom's a cocky guy. If he finds out that one of his variants turned into fucking Iron Man, he's probably going to be pissed. So that's why I think he's going to go then I think that's going to be the moment he sees his variant becoming Iron Man.
What if Doom's the one that causes the car crash?
What was it?
What if Doom's the one that causes the car bomb to go off in Iron Man 1 that gives Tony Stark the heart too? There's 1,000 ways you can spin this theory, but I really do believe that at the end of this, we're gonna realize that Tony Stark is not Tony Stark. He is Doom, and that we're going to see that this is going to be all wrapped into one. If they do it right, there's not really another way they can do it, in my opinion, because they've already introduced him as Doom.
Mhm.
And you know, he also I take this at face value. What RDJ said last San Diego Comic-Con, where he's like, same mask, same task. It's like, okay, yeah, it's I think it's the same character. It's just from a different universe. That's what I'm sticking with. It's the only thing that makes sense. I could be wrong. I'm wrong on a lot of fan theories and just theories that I hope to see, but I don't see another way that they could spin it, in my opinion, and really wrap in the story. Because if this is really the end of the MCU as we know it, they have to tie it in. They have to tie it in with a bow. And right now, they're so sporadic.
Another thing.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Sorry.
I'm holding.
I have to say, I'm going to have to put a pause on this because we're running quite a bit over. But the other main reason is because I already planned on doing this anyway. But for those watching, we'll be doing another roundtable discussion about what's next for Marvel, because this is actually the last Marvel movie that we're getting for an entire year, basically, and basically the only superhero movie for a year. The next one is Supergirl. Right after that is Spider-Man in summer of next year. So we have a lot of time to be thinking about like what's going to be coming for Marvel, whether that's leading up to Secret Wars and then of course what comes after Secret Wars. So I definitely want to do another like roundtable discussion for what's next for Marvel and things like that. So I'm sure we'll be diving heavily into like more of these fan theories, our thoughts on Doom and the multiverse at large.
Quiet way of telling us to shut the fuck up.
I'm sorry, but I got to cut it off somewhere.
I want to go to bed. Gosh.
So, but yeah, so we're gonna call it a night. Real quick before we do, just want to make sure everybody gets their ratings. I know Brandon, can you tell us your rating one more time for the film?
Oh, the rating. I'd say 8.7. That's where I'm sticking.
8.7. Steven?
I will second that. 8.7 was a great number, and I'll go with Brandon on that one.
Kat?
9.
Wow.
I'd go
All
with a
right,
9.
and Josh?
I'm gonna meet them in the middle and do 8.8.
All right. Well, I hate to end it on a bummer, but for me, it's like a 6.5.
You're canceled. Get out of your own show.
He's a
This is
Herbie
Venom
hater.
all over. This is Venom
He's
all
a
over
Herbie
again.
hater. How do you be a Herbie
You
hater?
must be the type that likes She-Hulk.
Come
You must
on.
be the type that likes the She-Hulk show.
That's a 3.5 dog all day. At that.
No, it's Venom.
You loved Venom. You shush.
Yeah. See?
Yeah, we
See,
clipped
Andrew
that.
was know
You were
me.
saying how much you loved it. We clipped it.
Yeah. That lives forever on the internet.
Good.
All right, y'all. We're going to call it a night. Please be sure to check us out on social media at Retroactive POD. Of course, subscribe to the channel here for more videos like this. Follow everybody at their socials. You can find me at Andrew is Losing on all social media. Josh, where can the people find you?
You find me over at McCoy Culture on all social media platforms.
Brandon and Kat?
Venture Authentics.
Steven?
Working a second job to afford Josh's popcorn bucket in a year.
You know you're going to lose.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us, and we will see you guys next time. Peace.
That